Can it be a bit down?
No, this is okay. The voice will go everywhere, don't worry. Okay. Bring it down.
It's okay.
Okay, like this one.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا علي يا عظيم، يا غفور يا رحيم، أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه علي، وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلتها في ليلة القدر، وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك، من علي بفقاك ركبة من النار في من تمن علي، وأدخل للجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم أدخل على أهل القبور السرور، اللهم أغن كل فقير، اللهم أشف كل جائع، اللهم اكس كل عريان، اللهم اقض دين كل مدين، اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب، اللهم رد كل غريب، اللهم فك كل أسير، اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين، اللهم اشف كل مريض، اللهم سد فقرنا بجناك، اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك، اللهم اقض عنا الدين واغننا من الفقر، إنك على كل شيء قدير.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عام هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب الإدام، فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا الله. صلوات
اللهم صل
على
على
محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك، وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عسرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعسرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها، على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه، ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مشدوه الباسط بالجود يداه الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير مع حاجتي بي إليه عظيما وغناك عنه قديم وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وسفحك عن ظلمي وسترك عن قبيح عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطاء وعمدي. أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبت عني عتبت بجهلي عليك ولعل الذي أبت عني هو خير لي لعلمك بآخبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريم أصبر ما على عبد لئيم منك علي يا ربي. إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك كأن لي تطول عليك. ولم يمنع كذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي وتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك. فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله المالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته والحمد لله على طول عناتي في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعادد قهر بعزته العزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظمى وبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة أنا عأسيه ويعذب النعمة علي فلا أجازيه. فكم من موهبة هنيئة قد أعطاني وعزيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونقة قد أراني. فأثني عليه حامدا واذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد السائل ولا يخيب آمل. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويدع المستكبرين يهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبين الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موزئي حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشية ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وعمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم صل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووسي رسول رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبع العظيم. وصل على صديقة الطاهرة فاطمة السيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحادي المهدي، حجتك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادة صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم صل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر، وحفه بملائكتك المقربين، وأيد بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له، أبدله من بعد خوفي أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه واعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نسيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المهم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، واعزز به ذلتنا، واغن به عائلنا، واغز به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فخرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيض به وجوهنا، وفك به أسرنا، وانجئ به طلبتنا، وانجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، واعتنا به سؤلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، واعتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق العامين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا، تلاوتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتظاهر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجل، وبذر تكشف، ونصر تعز، وسلطان الحق تظهر ورحمة منك تجللناها وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فأدخلنا وفي عليين فارفعنا وبكأس من معين من عين سلسبيل فاسقنا ومن الحور العين برحمتك فزوجنا ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤا مكنون فأخدمنا ومن ثمار الجنة ولحوم الطير فأطعمنا ومن ثياب سندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتل في سبيلك فوفق لنا وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فارحمنا وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا وفي عذابك وهوانك فلا تفتلنا ومن الزقوم والزري فلا تطعمنا ومع الشياطين فلا تجعلنا وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكتبنا ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل القطران ولا تلبسنا ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت بحق لا إله إلا أنت فنجنا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم المشكور سعيهم المغفور ذنوبهم المكفر عن سيئاتهم وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية وتوسع في رزقي وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل به غيري. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أن يطلع الفجر من ليلتي وهذه ولك قبلي تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار موصدة صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله والحمد حقه كما يستحقه حمدا كثيرا. وأعوذ به من شر نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المطهرين المكرمين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله العظيم في كتابه الكريم وهو أحسن القائلين وأصدق الصادقين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the purification of the souls, the enlightenment of the hearts, for the hastening of the reappearance of the awaited Saviour, Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajuh Sharif, and for the acceptance of our deeds, purify your souls and the atmosphere with the recitation of salawat upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد وآل محمد.
Respected elders, scholars, sisters, brothers in Islam, Salamun alaykum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This man is the only individual to have been mentioned by name from amongst the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet of Islam. He was beloved to the Holy Prophet as well as to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And his story in the Quran has been subject to arguably the most controversial depiction and attack on the Holy Prophet of Islam. Zayd ibn Haritha Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh is one of those individuals whom perhaps we have heard of by passing, yet the Quran mentions his name exclusively. We recognize that when it comes to the naming of those around the Holy Prophet, very few are mentioned. Zayd is an exception in that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala refers to him in chapter 33, Surah Al-Ahzab of the Holy Quran. We come to the idea that when it comes to the story of Zayd, he was a man that was close to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And indeed, to some members of the Ahl al-Bayt, his story is important for you and I to recognize and to understand. Because of course, there are many important lessons that we can be inspired from when it comes to his story, simply because there are historical, jurisprudential, spiritual, and importantly, theological dimensions to what the Quran speaks about with regards to Zayd ibn Haritha. When we examine this element, we recognize that the actual personality of the Holy Prophet of Islam, as much as it's been revered and respected by believers and Muslims for hundreds of years, has also been the subject of criticism, attack, fabrication, and distortion by his enemies. You find that, for example, Orientalists, others that have sought to somehow present and tarnish the beautiful image of the Prophet of Islam, have come forward and have attacked him through different dimensions of his life. When you look at people like, for example, John of Damascus, you have example like Alexander Dupont in 1258, Gregorian, and others. You read their works, what have they said? They have said that, for example, God forbid, that the Prophet of Islam was a womanizer. Alexander Dupont says that Muhammad used to walk around with a bird on his shoulder who used to whisper things to him, and he used to believe that that was revelation. Today we have Islamophobes, zealots, anti-prophet individuals who have come out and have utilized some references in Islamic history, in hadith literature sadly that do exist, to attack the very personality of Rasulullah. You have people like Salman Rushdie. You have individuals like John Spencer. These and other individuals today in the Western world are supported by many strong people out there, wealthy individuals, to write books, articles, to spread their venom on the internet as well as publications. And they seek to depict a very different image of the Holy Prophet. You and I, as lovers of Rasulullah, as followers of Rasulullah, as people who give our lives to Rasulullah, should be the first defenders of Rasulullah. You and I should be individuals who not only claim the association with the greatest human being created by Allah, but are willing to equip ourselves with the knowledge and the tools to say that we will present the glorious image of Rasulullah the way it is. We will defend anything that he has been attacked. We will correct the wrong. We will show the world what an inspirational figure the messenger of Islam is. Because I tell you, today there are more than 1.6 billion human beings who have come forward and have declared that they follow the messenger of God. And you find them across the world in different corners. Yes, there is a recognition to be found for you and I. There is no human being today and in the history of mankind who is remembered on a daily basis by name like Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Just a simple calculation will bring this claim into fruition, that when you and I recite tashahhud on a daily basis in our salah, I calculated that the glorious name of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, is mentioned at least 27 times throughout the day by each individual who performs the salah. 27 times. That is, of course, excluding the salawat, that is excluding remembering his glorious life. So if we come and estimate that 1 billion human beings around the world on a daily basis perform salah, that means the name of Muhammad is mentioned every single day 27 billion times. 27 billion times the name Muhammad shakes this world to illuminate the darknesses and to guide mankind. There is no other human being who is remembered as much. And this is a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In which way? Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We have raised your remembrance and will continue to do so. Because the name Muhammad means the one who deserves to be praised. The one who is continuously honored and praised. Yet one of the ways in which we praise Rasulullah is to understand the life of Rasulullah and to be able to answer pertinent questions that unfortunately exist within hadith literature of the Islamic world. Yes, this is not only attacks from outside Islam. This is sadly utilization of what we have today, weak traditions that seek to depict the Holy Prophet in a negative way. Let's look at the life of Zayd ibn Haritha, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh, but also seek to understand where was the controversy regarding his personality and his marriage to Zaynab bint Jahsh, and how the Quran looked at this in Surah Al-Ahzab. When you look at traditions and when you look at Islamic history, there isn't an indication as to the year of the birth of Zayd. But we are told when he passed away, or when he was martyred in the year 8 after Hijrah, he was 55 years of age. Meaning that he was 6 years younger than the Prophet of Islam. Zayd ibn Haritha, one time when he was young, he accompanied his mother to visit a city. It is not well known where this city is, but immediately he was captured because the city was attacked by an army. And this is how, unfortunately, some individuals became enslaved. How they became part of the slavery system, that they would be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Zayd ibn Haritha is captured. He's taken as a slave. He is taken towards Mecca. When he's taken towards Mecca, the brother of Khadija, salamullahi alayha, purchases him and gifts him to Khadija, peace and blessings be upon her. Now this particular young man, Zayd ibn Haritha, is gifted to Khadija. And Khadija, salamullahi alayha, when she marries the Prophet of Islam, she gifts Zayd as a servant, as a slave, to whom? To the Holy Prophet himself. And Zayd became very fond of this association that he had with Rasulullah. The narrations tell us that he would accompany him everywhere. And this was before the first revelation. We are told that some people saw Zayd with the Holy Prophet. When they saw Zayd, they went and informed his father that we have found your son. Your son is in Mecca. He is with this man known as As-Sadiq al-Amin. His father came to Mecca. He came and asked, where is this man by the name of Muhammad? They told him he lives in this place and he can be found in this particular area. He went, he saw the Prophet and he said to him, Ya Muhammad, this Zayd that is your slave is my son. I am willing to purchase him from you. I want my son back. The Prophet said, no need. I free him for the sake of Allah. Yes, he is hur fi sabilillah. He's free to join you. Zayd looked at his father. Historically it's written. He said, Wallah, by God, there is nothing beloved, more likable to me in my life than Muhammad. I will never leave him. Not even for my father. I am staying with him. Yes. The recognition therefore was that his father Haritha became angry with him. He said, how can you not come to your own father? Yes. Zayd said that my life with Muhammad is the most beautiful of lives. I enjoy being next to him. I enjoy serving him. I am not going to, there is no point for my life without him. This is the words of Zayd, yes. Then Haritha, his father, said, very well, I disown you. You are no longer my son. I have nothing to do with you. Yes. After this, what happened was that the Prophet of Islam adopted him. The Prophet of Islam came and said, you are my adopted son. And he was later known as Zayd ibn Muhammad, Zayd the son of Muhammad. Yet Allah Ta'ala revealed verses in the Quran that says your adopted sons are not your real sons. Therefore they must not take your name. Thereafter it was changed to Zayd ibn Haritha. Because in Islam we don't have this thing of disowning. A father can disown the son, but they're still considered their son. It's not that all of a sudden there is a disconnection and that relationship is severed. When the Holy Prophet of Islam received the revelation, Zayd ibn Haritha was amongst the first to believe in him and to support him. The narrations tell us that when Rasulullah would come to Mecca and he would come to Masjid al-Haram and he would be performing salah, people would see two men and a lady with him. They would see Ali ibn Abi Talib, they would see Zayd, and they would see Khadijat al-Kubra, salawatullahi wa salamu alayha. And they would be the first family unit that performed the salah, that performed the worship of the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the Prophet of Islam went to the city of Ta'if, when he went to propagate the message in the first 13 years of the revelation, the city of Ta'if received him with what? With stones. Yes? They pelted him with stones. He was bleeding profusely. One of those that was with him, with Amir al-Mu'mineen, was Zayd. To the extent that Rasulullah, according to the narrations, would look at Zayd and would say, Allahumma inni uhibbuh. Ya Allah, bear witness that I love this Zayd. And when Rasulullah says, I love a man or a person, yes, it is not a normal expression. It is not a normal statement. To express love when the Ahl al-Bayt come forward and say that I love an individual, their love is not personal. Their love is because of their love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It comes through it. And so Zayd occupied this prominent position. He enjoyed this connection and this status with the Messenger of God. But of course, in Mecca, it was very difficult for him. And all the Muslims, the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet, were subjected to mass persecution, torture throughout this period of time. He came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, I would like to get married. Yes, I'm a young man. I would like to get married. Marry me to someone. The Prophet of Islam said, I'm going to marry you to whom? Ayman. Who is Ayman? Ayman was also a servant in the house of Abdullah, the father of the Prophet of Islam. Yes. Ayman was beloved to the Ahl al-Bayt. Ayman was an individual whom Rasulullah used to say what? Innaha min Ahl al-Jannah. That she's of the people of Jannah. She's of the people of paradise. Yes. Ayman was very righteous lady. In history, one of the few who witnessed that the land of Fadak was given to the Lady of Light, Fatima al-Zahra, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayha. Was whom? Was Ayman. Yes? To the extent that she came to the ruling establishment and she said to them, when they usurped Fadak from Fatima, she said to them, I swear by Allah, did you not hear the Prophet say, Ayman is one of the people of Jannah? This is found where? It's found in the commentary of Nahj al-Balagha by Ibn Abil Hadid al-Mu'tazili. He's a Mu'tazilite, non-Shia, yes? He writes that Ayman came and was one of the witnesses to say, I saw and I bear witness that Rasulullah in the year 7 after Hijrah, after the battle of Khaybar, gave Fadak to his daughter Fatima. I bear witness. And she said to them, don't you remember that the Prophet said, I am of the people of Jannah, which means I don't lie, which means I'm stating the truth. They rejected her. Of course they would reject her because they rejected those who are ma'soom, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذِبْ عَنْكُمْ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ. Yes? Therefore they rejected Ayman too. But she married whom? She married Zayd ibn Haritha. Whom did they have as a child? Usama. Now you're beginning to piece the puzzle. Who is Usama? Usama ibn Zayd. The 19-year-old young boy whom at the time of what? During the last few months of the life of the Messenger of Islam, he made him the commander of the army to go and fight the Romans. And some of the prominent Sahaba objected and said, he's only 19, 20, how can he lead us? And the Prophet would sit on the minbar, according to Allama Shahristani in his book Milal al-Nahl, non-Shia. He says, the Prophet says, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ تَخَلَّفَ عَنْ جَيْشِ Usama. Anyone who doesn't go with the army of Usama, Allah will withdraw his mercy from him. Yes? Usama ibn Zayd was what? Was a son that was born out of this particular relationship. Later, Zayd, his son Usama, and his wife Ayman were forced to migrate. They migrated towards Medina before the Messenger of Islam went on the migration. They settled in the holy city of Medina, welcoming the Messenger of God. And when the Prophet of Islam arrived in Medina, like so many other Muslims, indeed it was a joyous occasion. Zayd is considered of the Muhajirin. He was welcomed by the Ansar, yes, without a shadow of a doubt. And he took part in the battles of Badr, Uhud, yes, as well as Khandaq and Khaybar. He was a man who was very much at the forefront. He was not afraid to sacrifice his life for the religion of Islam. And narrations tell us that Amir al-Mu'mineen also was fond of him. Amir al-Mu'mineen also loved him. At the same time, one narrations tell us that in the battle of Badr, what happened in Badr was that Rasulullah said to Zayd, "Oh Zayd, go to Medina and inform the people of Medina about the victory that Allah has given us in Badr." So Zayd was the one who was entrusted with the responsibility to declare to the Muslims that victory has been attained in the battle of Badr. In Medina, he comes to the Prophet and says, "Ya Rasulullah, marry me." This is where his second wife. It was very common at that time to marry more than one individual. Here we have this story that the Quran begins to describe in chapter 33. The first area to discuss before looking at the verses is what? Is that the Messenger of God was an individual who sought reform in society. Rasulullah was not looking to please people. Rasulullah was a legislator, a reformist, a great statesman who sought to establish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's laws on this earth. One of the things he sought to do in society, especially at that time, Arabian society was strife with racism, with bigotry, with people saying, "I am better than the other person. I am in a higher class than the other person." Yes? One of the things that Rasulullah sought to achieve and accomplish, and he did, was to break these barriers and to say that if somebody is from, for example, an aristocratic family, they can marry an ex-slave. Yes, there is nothing wrong with that. Yes. Al-Miqdad ibn al-Aswad, he came and married a maid lady by the name of Dhubaba. Yes, so Dhubaba was also quite well. Al-Miqdad was a dark in complexion and was also a slave. Rasulullah made them come together in order to shatter these kinds of thinking and this kind of separation and forms of racism that existed in that society. That's why he would honor Bilal, isn't it? That's why he would give so much responsibility for Bilal. That's why he would say, "Salmanu minna ahl al-bayt." When it comes to today's world, 1400 years, even later, you might think that racism is no longer prevalent, but you look in different parts of the world, you have presidents of certain countries, you have individuals who are in leadership positions, you have movements such as the white supremacists. They have what? A very much extremist racist agenda, isn't it? That it's still a disease that is plaguing humankind. And Rasulullah was one of the first to what? To carry the flag of equality and to what? Call for respect of all human beings. That's why when Zayd ibn Haritha, who is his adopted son, who is an ex-slave, came to him and said to him, "I wish to get married," he said, "I will marry you to my cousin." Who is his cousin? Zainab bint Jahsh. Who is Zainab bint Jahsh? Her mother is Umama. Umama is the sister of Abdul Muttalib, or the daughter of Abdul Muttalib, yes? Which means what? She is the auntie of the Prophet. And Zainab is the cousin of the Prophet. So Umama, yes, is the auntie of Rasulullah. And what? Her daughter is Zainab. Zainab bint Jahsh was from a very well-known family, yes, very well respected. She was hoping that the Prophet would marry her. She was waiting for that, yes. When the Prophet of Islam sent her a message through her brother and Abdullah ibn Jahsh, Abdullah received a message from Rasulullah and says, I wish to carry out the nikah for Zainab. Initially, she had in her mind what? Initially, she had in her mind that the Prophet is going to marry her. So she agreed. She was joyful, she was delighted, she was very happy that that is what is going to happen. Later, she recognized it wasn't the Prophet, it was whom? It was Zayd ibn Haritha, the adopted son of the Holy Prophet. She had concerns. So did her brother. They thought, well, you know, it doesn't befit. I am from this family and he's from a lesser family. How can us two come together, yes? How is this particularly possible, yes? Incidentally, subhanallah, when you look at the stories of the Quran, you wonder, history repeats itself. Today we have the same problem, without being controversial. Today we have the same problem in different communities. I'm in Iraq, I'll tell you about the Iraqi community, yes? For example, in certain parts of Iraq today, if somebody is from Najaf, yes, and for example, they're looking, or there's a lady from Najaf, there are people who come from the south, for example, from Basra, or they propose. There are some who say, I am from Najaf, you're from Basra, it's not the same. Yes, you should be from similar. That kind of thinking exists even today, yes? When it comes to mentalities as far as what? As far as marriage is concerned. I tell you, how many times you find when it comes to marriage, culture supersedes religion. Many times people don't like it when we speak about this notion that a Sayyida can marry a non-Sayyid. People don't like it. They say, why are you picking on these issues? It's fine, yes, let the Sayyida only marry a Sayyid. That's how it should be. No. Islam comes forward and says, very well, there's no harm in saying that I want my daughter to marry a Sayyid. But if a non-Sayyid comes to propose for your daughter and they have good qualities, yes, you should not stop that from happening, because in Islamic law, there is no such thing, yes? There is no marja' who says that a Sayyida must marry a Sayyid. And I know in certain communities this is very big, yes? And some people don't like this being mentioned. But the member of Rasulullah, the member of Hussein, is not a member for pleasing people. It's the member of reform and change for the sake of Allah. It's not a member that I want to hear whatever I like to hear, yes? The recognition therefore is what? Is that Zaynab bint Jahsh, she recognized this was a command from Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says the following. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. It is not for the believer, male and female, when Allah and His Messenger declare that something has to happen, that you have a choice. What an amazing introduction to this story, yes. How pertinent it is today, subhanallah. Because today, I call the practice of religion in some quarters around the world, do you know what I call it? I call it cherry picking microwave religion. You know what that means? That means I will only take from deen what I believe to be right. And then I want to prepare it the way quickly, very easy. It's like microwave, and put it in the microwave and have it ready immediately. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to work hard, yes? The recognition is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you've become a Muslim. You've submitted to Allah. This is better for you. This is your salvation. This is your well-being in dunya and akhirah. Allah and His Messenger know best. Don't come forward and say, I think. You know, Maraja' 1400 years have said, for example, hijab is wajib. And then you have one person coming and saying, I think it's not good to have hijab. If there is Islamophobia, don't wear hijab. Allah and His Messenger have said, you and I are not to come and say yes, not to come and start pushing boundaries and start confusing people. The recognition, therefore, is Allah sets the general framework for what? General framework for the discussion and for the story that is about to be discussed. Very briefly, what's the story before looking at the verses? The story is Zainab marries Zayd. But unfortunately, Zainab's mentality was not necessarily the right way. In which way? We are told that in her marriage with Zayd, she used to constantly remind him that she is better than him. She used to constantly say that I'm from a better family. I'm more from a prestigious background. I am more from an established family. You're an ex-slave. And so the relationship began to have cracks. The relationship began to have strains. You see, in a marital relationship, it is of the utmost importance that when we enter the house and when we are communicating with each other, our degrees and certificates and our statuses stay outside the house. No female or male should say to the other, I am better than you because I have this qualification and you don't. I attended this program and you don't. I have studied Hawza and you haven't. I have done this and you haven't. This is a precursor for problems in marital relationship. Even today we have, for example, some of our ladies, mashallah, they are very qualified. They are physicians, they're doctors, and their husbands are not, maybe, yes. It's very important that they don't allow this to get in between them in marital relationships. Yes, it is very important that they don't allow this to create conflict and dissension in marriage, yes, because the spirit of marriage is love and respect between the other, not superiority over the other. And the key tool here is to help each other to become the best servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the real message, yes. That together as husband and wife, they would come together, yes. And unfortunately, the marriage of Zainab and Zayd began to display cracks, began to have problems. Like today, unfortunately, it is common to see that this issue is witnessed in certain societies. That's why you find in verse 37, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذْ تَقُولُ لِلَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَأَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ. The Prophet of Islam was what? Was visited by Zayd. Zayd said to him, Ya Rasulullah, I'm going through difficulty. My wife is what? Is making my life very difficult and we are not getting along. Quran says, when you say to the one whom Allah has blessed and you has blessed. How has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him? Well, he has blessed him with Iman, with Islam. And how has the Prophet of Islam blessed him? Blessed him through making him his son. Blessed him by freeing him. Yes. Made him what? Liberated from slavery. أَمْسِكْ عَلَيْكَ زَوْجَكَ. The Prophet kept saying to Zayd, keep at it. Work hard. Don't give up. Don't walk away from this marriage. Yes? Struggle. It's not easy. Amsik. This is a very important lesson for you and I. Yes? Because sometimes there is a tendency for people when they see immediately issues happening, especially in the first years of marriage, they start walking away. Or they started making judgments. Or they start making it impact the way they look at the other. Yes? They start to despise each other, whereas they should seek some tools to improve what they have, looking at themselves first. Many times we want to change the other, yes. Perhaps we should examine how we are conducting ourselves if there are problems in a marital relationship. Sometimes we look for an easy exit quickly, yes. I remember reading that this person, this brother, was having difficulties with his wife. A lot of fighting, a lot of issues in their marriage. So he decides to go and see his friend who is a doctor. And he says to him, you've got to help me. His friend says, what is it that I can do for you? He says, you must speak to my wife as a doctor and say to her, she is causing too much stress for me and that she needs to become less stressful for me. Otherwise, I'm going to collapse and die. Make the story up. So the doctor says, very well, I'll speak to her. So one day he took his wife to see his friend who is a doctor. He sat outside the room and he said to her, go inside, I don't want to listen to your conversation, he wants to speak to you. So this doctor friend of her husband sat with her and said to her, I have examined your husband. Your husband is suffering with mental breakdown. He's going through a lot of hardship, yes. You need to change, otherwise there's going to be real problems. She said, what do you mean? He says, you know, you need to be kind to him. You need to accept when he's angry. You need to smile. You need to provide him with the food that he wants. You need to not ask him why he's going out at night. You need to do the housework, the chores. You need to constantly, yes, be kind and gentle to him and be patient for him. She asked, and if I don't? He said, I can see that he will die within 3 months. He's going to survive 3 months. She came out of the room. The husband is now smiling. He says to his wife, so what is the outcome? She looked at him and says, you're going to die in 3 months. The idea is what? The idea is that sometimes we look for the exit clause. Yes? The way that the Quran informs us is to persevere, to struggle, to look at any means to repair and to work very hard. Loyalty is key. Yes, loyalty to each other is detrimental. Now, when the Quran comes forward and says, وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ. Now, what happened was, unfortunately, Zayd struggled, but it was not to be. And unfortunately, the relationship became even worse. Eventually, he decides to what? Decides to divorce Zainab. And when he divorces Zainab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after her idda period is over, commands the messenger of God to marry Zainab. Why? Yes, because it is known in Arabia at that time that one cannot marry the ex-wife of one's adopted son. Zayd was adopted son of the Prophet. Now he has divorced Zainab. At that time, the law in society in Arabia was that the father of the adopted son can't marry, yes, the daughter, yes. And that's why the Quran came forward and commanded Rasulullah to marry whom? To marry Zainab. And the Prophet of Islam then married Zainab in a grand ceremony, and he fed the people, and she was delighted. She used to say to the people, I am the one whom Allah has married me to Rasulullah. Yes. I am the one whom Allah the Almighty has declared must marry the Messenger of God. Yes. This is generally the story. Yet where is the controversy? I want you to focus here. In my humble opinion, having studied the life of the Prophet, having studied the works of these Orientalists, this is the biggest attack against the Prophet. This story is the biggest issue they have against Rasulullah. Yes? They are always picking on this story of Zainab bint Jahsh and the marriage of Zainab bint Jahsh. Why? Because we have narrations like, for example, Allama Tabari. Tabari's history is very famous, yes, of our brothers. Very famous Tabari history. What does Tabari say? Tabari says when Rasulullah kept telling Zayd, stick at it, work hard, struggle. One day, he went to the house of Zayd and he saw Zainab, his cousin, and he became enchanted with her. By looking at her, he has some great desire for her. Yes. And that is why then Zayd knew that Rasulullah wanted his wife. He divorced his wife so that the Prophet can marry. That is one depiction. Another depiction comes forward and says what? Another depiction comes forward and says, Quran is rebuking the Prophet. Quran is telling the Prophet what? Quran is saying to the Prophet, why did you hide that which Allah has already told you? Why? Because you look at the verses, what does it say? وَتَخْشَى النَّاسِ وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ. We're still in verse 37. You hide in yourself مَاللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ, what Allah is going to reveal. وَتَخْشَى النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَن تَخْشَى. You are afraid of people, but you must be more afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the moment I read this, I think, oh, Allah is rebuking the Prophet. He's telling the Prophet, how can you fear people and not fear the Almighty? True? When you first read these verses in the translation, that's the first idea that emerges in your mind. And because of this, sadly, some interpretations have emerged in this line. So for example, Allama Fakhruddin al-Razi, one of the Mufassirin of the Quran, of our brothers, the other schools of thought, have come forward and said what? And said, that's okay, it was not a sin. The Prophet shouldn't have done this. He shouldn't have looked at Zainab. He shouldn't have had that feelings for Zainab. And Allah is rebuking him and is telling him, you shouldn't have done this. Because He didn't tell him to ask for forgiveness. He says, He didn't say ask for tawbah. He just said, why are you afraid of people? Not afraid of me, the Almighty says in the Quran. So that's why we don't believe it's a sin, according to him. Yes. These and many other interpretations exist. How do the school of Ahlul Bayt tackle this issue? This is amongst a number of verses in the Quran that seemingly question the isma of the Prophet of Islam. Isma, the error-free, sinless belief that he and the Ahlul Bayt and all the prophets are ma'soom. Seemingly question it. Abasa wa tawalla an ja'ahu al-a'ma. Chapter 80, Surah Abas. That he frowned and turned away because the blind man had come. Our brothers from the other school, over 1 billion human beings today, if you ask them, they will tell you is the Prophet. Because mass majority, 90% of their books say what? That it was the Prophet. He was there, he sat down, he was talking to Quraysh, and all of a sudden a blind man, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, enters. He frowns and turns away. Why have you disturbed me? And Allah rebukes him. Abasa wa tawalla an ja'ahu al-a'ma wa ma yudrika la'allahu yazzakka. How do you know? Maybe this blind man is looking for purification. And so they say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking harshly with the Prophet because he didn't do something right, but it's not a sin. I ask you and I tell you this, and I often tell people that in the month of Ramadan it's very hard to keep focused after iftar. But if there is one message that you take from these majalis, tonight's majlis, one important message, take this. There is no school in Islam that defends and protects and exonerates Rasulullah like the school of Ali Muhammad. The first thing that distinguishes us from others is that we look at Rasulullah in 100% purity and nobility. We reject and do not accept anything which puts him in bad light. Anything. That is our aqeedah. Yes. Because sometimes when we discuss with others, they say, how do you distinguish your madhab or your school from others? We start talking about Amir al-Mu'mineen and Khilafah. No problem. But I always say to people, with this, talk about how our ulama, inspired by the words of Ali Muhammad, the Ahlul Bayt, talk about how we believe in isma, that Allah has sent these holy individuals. They're exemplars, they're role models, they're the best of creation. They will not behave in such a manner. And the Quran, when Allah speaks in this way, there are ways to explain it. This is known as mutashabihat, metaphorical. These are verses that need Ali Muhammad to tell you what it means, so that you can return to the thaqalain. You can return to the other heavy, weighty object, which is what? The holy Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, to be inspired and to understand. Therefore, our ulama, mufassirin, like Allama Tabatabi, have come forward and said the following. Please pay attention. They said, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this to the Holy Prophet, what is He saying? He's saying that you knew that one day you will marry Zainab bint Jahsh. And you did not wish to say it. Why? Yes, because our brothers say the Prophet didn't want to say it because what? He was afraid of the people. Our school says no. He was not afraid of the people because of the people. He did not wish to say it to people that one day he will marry Zainab in the future because he was worried for Islam and the religion of Islam. Everything of his fear was for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him that you are an individual who you should have feared Allah, yes, not feared the human beings, it doesn't mean that he feared human beings. It is to say that the Holy Prophet of Islam feared Allah, not human beings. Because when people come and read this particular verse, they will come to the Holy Prophet and say, Ya Rasulullah, did you fear human beings? He would say, no, I was fearing human beings would turn away from religion when they would know that I would eventually marry Zainab bint Jahsh. My keeping of the secret that Allah had given me was for the sake of the Almighty and the protection of the religion of Islam. So how do we then explain how this particular verse is worded? seemingly rebuking the Prophet of Islam. We are told that many times in the Quran, Allah speaks to the Holy Prophet, but he is what? In the real application of it, applying it to other human beings. إِيَّاكَ أَعْنِي وَاسْمَعِي يَا جَارَ. It means that, for example, we are sitting together, people, and somebody is smoking in the room. I look at the brother next to me and I say, by the way, smoking is very bad. But the brother is not smoking. I am seeking that other person. It's a polite manner of getting the message across. This is the method of the Quran. Yes, Quran, because of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, number one, has this very special relationship with the Prophet of Islam. So therefore he would address him in that manner. But it is not accepted that we reject all these narrations that he has any lustful thoughts or gazes, God forbid, yes, any of these traditions that are found within the works of others, we do not necessarily accept, yes. And that's why we recognize that the Quran exonerates the Holy Prophet. Why? وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He does not speak from himself. Everything is revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the Holy Prophet of Islam here is holding this back and not tell people, and the Quran is rebuking him, how do we reconcile this and the verse that says everything is from the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala? Cannot go together. Yes, if we understand it that he somehow did not do what he is supposed to do. Therefore, the verse continues and says what? فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا وَطَرًا زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا. When Zayd, completely divorced her, we married her for you لكي لا يكون على المؤمنين حرج في أزواج أدعيائهم. As we said, to legislate a law in Islam. Yes? Therefore, when it comes to this story, what do we find? We find an important lesson that we need to learn, yes, in the next few minutes, and that is how to strengthen when it comes to marital relationships. What is the key that sometimes is missing in marriages that must be worked on? Very briefly, many a times you see in marriage people talking about love, that marriages need to display and exhibit love, yes, between the other. But love is a very universal concept. It's a language everybody speaks. But I use the word language. Why? Because today it's being shown that just like how I can speak Swahili and Gujarati and Urdu and Arabic and English, yes, and if I speak a particular language you will not understand, love can also be explained and demonstrated and given through different ways and languages. And sometimes in marriages, how I show love to my wife and how she shows love to me is not grasped because it is not how I want love to be received. Today, scientists and others, behavioral experts have said, for example, there are 5 ways in which you can express love to each other as a husband and wife. They say, for example, there are people who like it when you say good things about them, words of affirmation. This is the best way of love, because I've seen husbands, they say, I show love to my wife. How do you show love? I take her to a very expensive vacation and holiday. Maybe that's not what she's looking for. Maybe for her, that is not the love that she seeks. She wants you to say to her, yes, how amazing she is. She wants to hear from you praise about her work, her qualities, her characteristics, and vice versa. Vice versa. When the Prophet of Islam, 1400 years ago, says when the husband says to his wife, I love you, it doesn't leave her heart. Number one, doesn't mean you say it only once. Some believers say, I said to her 20 years ago. It's in her heart, yes? No, it means the Prophet of Islam says, have a habit of communicating with each other by expressing your admiration of the other. When this doesn't happen, there is a breakdown in love for some people. For others, it could be acts of service, meaning what? That for husbands, perhaps one way to show love to the wife is to do some of the chores or some of the responsibilities that normally the wives do. And that demonstrates a great degree of affinity and connection. For others, it may be gifts. For others, it may be from time to time. The Prophet of Islam says, tahadu tahabu. that love is inculcated in strength through presentation of gifts between each other, not only at anniversaries, not only at birthdays, but unexpected gifts, unexpected flowers, unexpected something from here and there, yes, to take them by surprise. It is also highly appreciated. It could be their way of seeking that love. Similarly, it could be what? It could be physical touch. But sometimes this is very important for either the husband or indeed what? Or indeed the wife. Sometimes it's not this, it's quality time. Quality time means what? No phone, no television, no distractions. Just what? An opportunity to spend time with the other. To be able to what? To have that relationship whereby one is able to listen attentively to the other, yes, and to understand what they're going through, so to speak, yes. The recognition, therefore, is that you and I, as people who follow this important, beautiful set of instructions, we need to look for these tools to enhance our relationships and to develop them together as partners as far as husband and wife is concerned, and to ask and to be illuminated and to read and equip ourselves with modern tools that without a shadow of a doubt have been demonstrated 1400 years ago through the Holy Quran and the words of the Ahl al-Bayt. Zayd therefore was sent by the Messenger of God to propose. After his divorce, he went to the Zainab, his ex-wife, and says, Rasulullah wants to marry you. Subhanallah. See, today when people divorce, you find them speaking so much ill of each other. Why? I remember somebody who divorced his wife, was about to divorce his wife. Someone came and said, what's wrong with your wife? He said, she's my wife. I can't say anything bad about her. After they divorced, they came back to this person and say, now you're divorced. What was wrong with your wife? He says, she's a sister in Islam. I can't say anything about her bad. Unfortunately, when there is divorce, all of a sudden gives the green light for people to start bashing each other, to start talking negatively like each other. Zayd was the one who what? Demonstrated that no, I will go and propose on behalf of Rasulullah for my ex-wife. And he went, he proposed Zainab, and indeed the marriage took place. Zayd, salamullahi alayhi, fought then, where in a battle known as Mu'tah, yes, in the year 8 after Hijrah against the Romans in modern day Jordan, yes, alongside whom he fought alongside Ja'far al-Tayyar, the brother of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ja'far al-Tayyar, salamullahi alayhi, lost both of his arms in the battle and became martyred. Zayd took the standard, the flag, and he fought until he became martyred. Yes. And when Rasulullah heard of their martyrdom, he prayed for them. He says they were the greatest of companions. Allahumma ghafir li Zayd, Allahumma ghafir li Zayd, Allahumma ghafir li Zayd. That the Prophet of Islam would pray for Zayd ibn al-Haritha, yes, and that he would demonstrate that he was a man throughout his life, that he adhered to the principles of the religion and attained shahad. And that's why his shrine today you'll find where? In Mu'tah, yes, next to the shrine of Ja'far al-Tayyar, it's just outside Jordan. A few hundred kilometers outside Jordan, you'll find the city with a beautiful shrine for Ja'far al-Tayyar and Zayd ibn Haritha, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'een. Yes? And when it comes to the sons of the Prophet, Zayd was an adopted son of the Prophet, wasn't he? The Prophet of Islam had indeed, according to narrations, 2 sons given to him through different wives. One of them was Ibrahim. In Medina, he was bestowed with Ibrahim, who died in his infancy. Narrations tell us one day he had Ibrahim on one lap, and he had Sayyid al-Shuhada, Husayn ibn Ali, on another lap. And Jibreel descends. So the Prophet was stroking Husayn, and he was stroking Ibrahim. And Jibreel descends and says, Ya Rasulullah, do you love your sons? Quran says Husayn was the son of Rasulullah. Yes. Do you love them? Prophet says, of course. They are the apple of my eyes. I love them. Jibreel says, would you want to sacrifice one for the other? The Prophet would say, yes, I am willing for my son Ibrahim to be sacrificed for Husayn. Yes. Some narrations say that later he was asked, Ya Rasulullah, why? He says, Husayn has a mother like Fatima and a father like Ali. Yes. And Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. That through Husayn the religion of Islam will be kept alive. That is why the narrations tell us that he was so beloved to the Holy Prophet, Sayyid al-Shuhada. And in one occasion, Salama radwanullahi ta'ala alayha says that I was told by the Prophet that I must keep people away from him. He wants to rest. And one time I entered the room when he was resting, and I saw him sitting crying with the young Hussein on his laps. And I apologized to him. I said, Ya Rasulullah, I am so sorry. I didn't see this young man Hussein enter the room. Please forgive me. The Prophet said, no, not at all. I am not crying because of this. I am crying because when my young son Hussein came and sat next to me, Jibreel descended and said, Ya Rasulullah, atuhibbu. Do you love him? He said, by Allah, I love him so much. He says, your own ummah will shed his blood, will kill him and indeed massacre him. And here you have the soil. This soil is from the land of Karbala. Take it, Ya Rasulullah. So Rasulullah takes the soil and gives it to Salama. He says, Salama, this is the turba of Karbala. If it turns red, know that my son Hussein has been slaughtered. That is why Salama, on the day of Ashura, she would constantly look at the soil. But on the day of Ashura, she saw that it turned red. She began to cry. She told the people, لَقَدْ قُتِلَ Hussein, that Hussein has been slaughtered, Hussein has been killed. Yes, I say to her, Salama, this soil of Karbala has turned red because Hussein was slaughtered. But do you know what this soil actually saw? Not only was Hussein slaughtered, but his bones were crushed under the hooves of the horses. Yes. Not only was Hussein slaughtered on these plains, yes, but his fingers were severed. Not only was Hussein slaughtered on the plains of Karbala, like Imam Zayn al-Abidin says, don't say my father Hussein was killed. Say Dhubiha Abi al-Hussein. Say my father Hussein was slaughtered like how an animal is slaughtered. Hussein indeed attained Shahada. But O soil of Karbala, what did you see? You saw his body dragged from one place to another. O soil of Karbala, you saw the daughters of Ali and Hussein being slapped and being whipped. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Very briefly, the spiritual tip that I would like to highlight for the mu'mineen, and of course my apologies for taking a little bit more of your time. This is the month of Ramadan that we are invited to this magnificent feast to acquire as much as we can and to be inspired as much as we can. One of the main features of our siyam and our a'mal, as we mentioned, to be accepted is that it must be performed correctly. And one thing maybe I need to think about in the month of Ramadan is my deeds. Am I performing them in the right manner or not? Meaning what? Meaning that none of us can guarantee that my wudu and my salah is correct, 100%. Perhaps I have picked up habits in my life that have made my salah batil, God forbid. Let me give you one example. This is a spiritual tip for tonight. If you and I come to salah and we say the following, Allahu Akbar, our salah is batil. It's batil. If I say Allahu Akbar, my salah is batil. How? In salah, takbiratul ihram must be pronounced absolutely pristine and correctly. It is one of the 5 pillars of salah, arkanus salah, that must not be made any mistake. Any mistake, deliberate or inadvertent, renders the salah batil. Allahu Akbar is wrong. Allahu Akbar is correct. So when I come to salah, if I am rushing and I say Allahu Akbar, Wakbar, Wakbar, renders the salah batil. I must stand and say Allahu Akbar. The alif, the hamza must be recited. Allahu Akbar. And that is the correct. Yes. Some believers will ask, all my life I have said Allahu Akbar. What am I going to do tonight? If you are not aware, don't worry. If you are not aware of this ruling, if you perhaps in the past nobody ever told you, don't worry. If you were aware and you took it for lightly, granted, and now you remembered, then you must repeat the salah that you did. But if you are not aware of this, and all your life you've just done Allahu Akbar, Wakbar, from now on, pay attention to Takbiratul Ihram. Allahu Akbar. So that we enter salah in the correct manner. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our salah and deeds in this holy month of Ramadan and allow us to re-examine our salah to make sure it's done properly with the barakah of Suratul Mubarakatul Fatiha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wish to announce the sad demise of Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Al-Hussein Al-Shistani, who was brother to our Maraja Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Hussein Shistani. Request to recite Fatiha for the marhum. Al-Fatiha. Just a reminder, after the Tabarukat, we shall have the Kumbh seminar with our guest speaker, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Hilli, here at the ground floor. All ladies and gents are requested to attend.